Do you ever lie awake in bed wondering where the last 10 years went, replaying all the what ifs and feeling like you're running out of time to get it right? If you're over 40 or 50 and gay, you might be carrying beliefs that are keeping you stuck, beliefs I carried for 50 years without even realizing it. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the 4 beliefs that stole over a decade of happiness from me, the same ones I see trapping so many gay men I work with. And I'll show you what helped me and so many others break free from this before you lose another 10 years. Let's talk first about regrets. Many of us carry a heavy burden, and there are many kinds of regrets I hear. A common one is grieving the years spent hiding who you were, years that could have been spent building the life you actually wanted. Surviving in a world that wants to erase you, that takes tremendous courage. Though we often forget to acknowledge that, to pause for a second and appreciate ourselves for that courage. The laws that criminalize you or family members who rejected you, they were wrong, and it takes enormous strength to carry the wrongdoing for so long. I know many have been wrestling with these regrets for years, maybe decades. How different would your life look like if you were straight or if you'd made different choices along the way? The question, what if, can feel like a weight you can't put down. So, making peace with your journey isn't something that happens overnight. It's not a switch you can flip. Some days you might feel closer to acceptance. Other days, the grief hits just as hard as ever. What I've noticed is that men who eventually find some peace aren't the ones who pretend the past didn't hurt. They're the ones who slowly, gently start asking themselves, given everything that I've survived, what's still possible for me now? They still have their hard days, but something shifts when they discover that their awareness today, even if it's born from pain, this awareness opens doors that were not visible before. You're still here, still seeking, still growing. The very fact that you're watching this means something in you believes there's more to your story. And there is, even if you can't quite see it yet. Now, let's talk about the second belief that steals joy from so many gay men. The belief that getting older means becoming invisible and undesirable. If you've spent time in the mainstream gay spaces, you know what I'm talking about. There's this ageism and worship of youth that can make you feel like you're becoming invisible as the years pass, like you're somehow worth less because you have gray hair or lines on your face. It messes with your head. It convinces you that your value as a person is tied to how young you look. This is a real and strong fear that as we age, we won't be desirable anymore. Now, I know so many men who've chosen solitude because they refuse to beg for scraps of attention from people who've been programmed to see them as invisible. But here's where it gets interesting. Years ago, I was at a social event and talking to a guy in his mid-70s, and he told me something that really surprised me, and it made me question everything I thought I knew. I'm way more popular now than I was in my 20s and 30s. I was skeptical. It went against everything I saw around me in the gay scene, in spaces such as gay bars. What I didn't know back then is something you probably already know if you've watched some of my other videos, that the ageist and toxic scene we all know is actually not the only scene. It's just the loudest and unfortunately the most visible. But step outside those spaces, think interest-based groups, volunteering, even certain online forums, and you'll find people in their later years who are thriving, feel desirable and loved. And if you check out some of the comments people leave on my videos, you'll find lots of evidence for that. Take this one, for example. I was single my whole life, gave up on love, then it finally came at age 69. And my favorite, I'm 53 and get more attention now than ever from men of all ages. There's absolutely a market for older men. So, what's behind this shift? Here's what I see with the men I work with. They stopped fighting their age and started embracing it. They stopped chasing youth with products and procedures. They focus on their well-being instead, and they've stepped out of the ageist mainstream gay scene to find people and communities that actually value maturity. They redefine what makes someone attractive and valuable. Quick invitation. If you're finding value in this video, you'll love my private newsletter. The link to join for free is in the video description. Now, let's talk about the third belief that's keeping so many gay men stuck. I get comments like this all the time on my videos. It just seems like most guys only want sex, not love. My version of 10 years ago felt exactly the same. I mean, you talk with a guy, there's chemistry, and within less than 5 minutes, he's asking if you're a top or bottom. Before he even knows your name, he wants to know your measurements. You feel like a menu item, not a person. Or when you mention you want a relationship, they tell you they're not ready for anything serious. So after getting burned like this repeatedly, you start thinking that's just how it is. When every guy you meet treats you like a transaction, when every conversation becomes about sex within minutes, it makes sense to believe that's just how all gay men are. And in the spaces where you've been looking, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what's happening there. But here's the thing. These spaces you are looking in, they're more geared towards hookups. Dating apps with algorithms that reward shirtless photos, gay bars where you get scanned like a piece of meat, or as one of my viewers put it, going to a gay bar to find a quality connection is like going to an ice cream parlor to lose weight. But here's what's actually happening. You've encountered a lot of guys who only want sex, and that's shaped your entire view of gay men. Which makes sense. But there are also guys out there who want something deeper, real connection, emotional intimacy, someone to build something with. The problem is, when you believe everyone only wants sex, you just stop looking because there's no point. Believing that no one wants relationships guarantees you'll never find one. So this belief isn't protecting you. It's keeping you stuck. Which brings us to the fourth belief, the idea that being single is just better. Sometimes I get comments like from this gentleman. I love being single. I get all my wine, all my time, all my space. I get it. After years of cheaters, guys who disappear without explanation, and relationships that started with promise but ended in a heartbreak, that's a reasonable conclusion. And there is something to be said for those peaceful Saturday mornings without someone else's chaos in your space. And it's also true that the gay dating world can be cruel. Everyone seems to demand perfection while bringing their own baggage to the table. The apps are exhausting. Bars make you feel invisible. And meeting someone genuine seems about as likely as winning the lottery. So, what do we do with that reality? We've seen one option, to embrace it. You'll hear people say, I was born to be single. I just love it. And that's great. They found what works for them. But for the majority of men I work with, being single has become a shield. If they're really honest with themselves, they're staying single not because they love it, but because they're disappointed, hurt, jaded, or just can't take another round of heartbreak. Deep down, if they could wave a magic wand and have what they really want for the rest of their lives, it wouldn't be another quiet evening alone. It would be waking up next to someone who chose you, who sees all of you, who's building a life with you. But instead of admitting that's what we want, we convince ourselves we're better off alone. I wonder if sometimes when we say, I'm happier alone, what we might actually mean is, I'm safer alone. Because safety isn't the same as happiness. It's just about existing, going through the motions. The truth is, being single isn't better or worse. It's just easier. Easier to control, to predict, no risk of getting hurt again, but also no chance of experiencing that thing you secretly still want. And here's what nobody tells you. Staying closed off doesn't actually protect you from pain. You're just trading heartbreak for the pain of loneliness and what if. At least the heartbreak fades, but wondering what if, that stays with you forever. What's the one thing about being in a relationship that you secretly miss the most? Let me know in the comments. Love you all.